welcome! What's up, everyone? My name is Mike, and this is the Bored Cyborg. Welcome back to yet another episode. Today I'm doing another Real Gear Grinders, which is a series that I've done one of before, where I talked about trailers and spoilers. Real Gear Grinders gives me the opportunity to talk about certain topics or subjects in film and surrounding film that I don't really get a chance to talk about often, that I do have something to say about. Today's topic is going to be remakes, reboots, and sequels. Oh my. I'd love to know what you guys think of remakes, reboots, and sequels, so feel free to leave that down in the comments below and we could get a little discussion rolling. First thing I want to say is one thing that I always say when people bring up, oh, there are too much sequels and remakes and blah, blah, blah. I can't really 100% agree with that, because here's the thing. Since the dawn of cinema, each year there are more and more films in existence. More and more people are making films. It is exponentially rising. So with that, it's a numbers game. With that, there are going to be more remakes, there are going to be more reboots, and there are going to be more sequels. Also, Hollywood has always done this. I mean, we've been remaking films for a long time, since really the dawn of cinema, honestly. A lot of literary films, or a lot of literary classics, things like Anna Karenina and Pride and Prejudice, those things like that are remade every 5 to 10 years since the beginning of cinema. Really. So, or every maybe 10 to 20 years or something. So, those types of films are always remade. Directors from one country are always being inspired by directors from other countries. And sometimes said director will see a film from another country and be like, you know, we could put the American perspective into this and really give the audience something new, something fresh, but maintain the spirit of the original. Some movies do this better than others. Let's just say The Thing. Let's just say The Thing is going to be remade, which I wouldn't be happy with. But here's the thing. That's me. I wouldn't be happy with it. So I'm not going to go see it. Or maybe I'll see it, judge it for what it is, try to judge it fairly, and move on. I'm not one of these types of people that's gonna sit here and say, oh, the creativity, it's not there, blah, 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 blah. Because even remaking a film takes a shit ton of creativity, man. It takes a lot of people involved, hundreds of people sometimes, all working together to create something. So it still is a creative endeavor. I understand that it's a lack of an idea, sure. But that argument never really sticks with me. If The Thing remake was announced today, the internet would lose its shit. I mean, it would lose its shit. But me, I'd just be like, oh, okay, another remake, whatever. I'm not gonna get on the internet and talk shit about it before I see it. And it's not made for us. It's made for a new generation of film watchers, film goers, to experience the story in a new and modernized way. Now, some films don't age. Like The Thing, I think The Thing holds up remarkably well. So I do still feel like the studios should compel people, younger people especially, to see the original film. Let's not wipe it out from existence. Let's not pretend it doesn't exist. You know? Like maybe in the beginning it could say, based on the original story, and then based on John Carpenter's The Thing, or even going back to the 50s with Howard Hawks' version. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a way to pay homage to the original and let the viewers know, a lot of which probably don't know that there was an original, let them know that there was, and to go check it out because it's worth seeing. You know, there's a spectrum here, so I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, because there are a lot of remakes that, first of all, a lot of people love, while acknowledging that the originals exist, and there are some that I really enjoy. Hell, The Thing is a remake. It is a remake of The Thing from Another World. You know, The Blob. More recently, well, 13 years ago now, but The Crazies was one that I really enjoyed. The Dawn of the Dead remake, albeit very different than the original 78 film, which is one of my favorite horror films ever, I still really enjoyed Zack Snyder's take on the story. He updated it. He made it feel new and fresh. The Maul wasn't quite a character like it was in the original, but he compensated with just unique ideas. You know, he made the zombies faster, which I'm not sure if 28 Days Later came before this, but he took that idea and made the zombies quicker and more threatening. They will catch your ass, and they will get your ass, and they will bite you. You know, so that was a really cool thing that he did with it, and that's why I welcome remakes. Remake movies. Just be smart about it, Hollywood. Be smart about it, filmmakers. Don't remake something unless you have a really good, unique, fresh, modern idea to infuse it with. Maybe the political time that we're living in when compared to when it was originally made. Things like that. Think about it. Don't do it if it doesn't make sense. Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This film gets remade every 20 years or so. There was a 50s version, there was a 70s version, my favorite. There was a 90s version, Body Snatcher, Abel Ferrara. There was a Knots version, I think '06, called The Invasion with Nicole Kidman. And I'm sure we'll be getting another one soon because that story holds up. There's always a place to retell that story. You know, in the 50s it dealt with a certain sort of post-war nuclear era paranoia, Cold War, and then the 70s one dealt with a whole nother set of social issues and paranoias that we were dealing with. So there is a place for remakes, but you gotta have a good idea. You have to have something that differentiates it from the original and adds something to say. A couple other remakes that I really enjoy are House of Wax, actually. The Hills Have Eyes. Maniac was a pretty good remake, albeit very different than the original, but that's okay. I actually prefer it to be very different than the original, but not too different. And so, like, it's a fine line, but it can be achieved. We've seen it. A lot of people love the Evil Dead remake. I do not. I don't think it's a great movie. And I think it loses what the original series was all about. It's too far away from the original series to me. So again, there's a fine line. It's hard to articulate what that line is, but there is one. Now, reboots. Reboots. I have some bones to pick with you, reboots. Reboots are more of a new thing in Hollywood. Taking a franchise that has run its course and rebooting it, reimagining it, giving it something new and fresh, hopefully, to bring to a new audience. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, I do think it's a little bit different when said film or franchise is based on a comic book or is based on a book, because I feel like the source material's there, and you could do whatever you want with it as long as you have the rights over and over again. That's fine, until people either continue seeing it or don't want to see it anymore. If you have a good idea, I have no problem rebooting a franchise that was once loved, to bring it to a new generation. But again, it's the same thing that goes with remakes. You've got to do it right. You have to be smart about it. You can't just willy-nilly pick anything. But I guess the thing that drives me crazy, I'm going to use Halloween as an example here. We can also talk Ghostbusters as an example, but I do want to focus on Halloween because it really is emblematic of the issues I have with reboots. Halloween is an example of a film that has been rebooted twice now. So we had the original in '78, we had the reboot, which was a remake in '07 by Rob Zombie, and then in 2018 we got, by David Gordon Green, we got the second reboot / remake. Now, the third one actually obliterated, retconned all of the sequels up to the Rob Zombie Halloween. It retconned everything and said, no, this is actually the second movie. And that is what they're continuing on now with Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, I believe it's called. So I have issues with that, for sure. I understand, just if you're going to reboot something, let's not make it a sequel to the original classic. Like, just start anew. Start brand new. Like, I'm all for that. If you want to reboot Friday the 13th, if you want to reboot Nightmare on Elm Street, go ahead. Do so. But don't erase everything that the sequels did. I mean, I don't like the sequels very much, 4, 5, 6, and on. I don't like the sequels to Halloween. I like 2 and 3. I think 2 rounds it out pretty nicely, actually. So I just think it's a little disrespectful to those filmmakers to say, no, screw it. All this story and all this thought into the story is thrown away. So I have a problem with that. I also have a problem with the naming scheme here. We now have 3 different films called Halloween, which are all reboots, the first of the franchise. So you type Halloween movie into Google, I have no idea what you even get these days. I don't want people to be misled. I want people to understand that there was an original, there was a second original, and then there's a third reboot here. You know, and I think that's a problem. Like Ghostbusters, same thing. The movie was just average at best, But that's not what bugs me. What bugs me is them calling it Ghostbusters. It could have been called Ghostbusters Resurgence. Anything. One of those re-words that, you know, everybody likes to use as subtitles. It could have been called anything. It could have been called Ghostbusters 2016 for all I care. No, they call it Ghostbusters, so I'm sure there were, for a time, there were a bunch of kids and young people who thought that that was the first of its kind. Maybe I'm being naive here. It bugs me. I just think it's a little disrespectful. I really do. Just cinematically disrespectful. The truth is, I want people to enjoy movies. I just want them to understand that what they're watching is a reboot. It's a reboot, it's a remake, whatever it may be. It's not the original idea. The filmmakers got the idea from somewhere else, and I think it's important for people, young and old, to go back and appreciate those films, or at least give them a whirl. If you hate them, whatever. Now, in terms of sequels, I mean, I've touched on sequels a little bit here, but I am all for sequels. If a group of people, let's use Resident Evil, the film series, which I think has 6 or 7 films now, that I adore, by the way. I love these movies, and I know a lot of other people do, otherwise they wouldn't have made a bunch of them. But I'm all for sequels. Keep pumping them out. If a group of people, a large group of people in this case, enjoy a certain type of movie, keep doing it. I mean, keep pumping them out. Even if you don't do much different in terms of story or action, we know what to expect with these movies. To me, these movies are pulpy, sort of comic book kind of movies that you just go and you just enjoy and you forget. I mean, admittedly, you forget about these movies once they're over. But I really enjoy the popcorn aspect of them and the entertainment value of them. Some films are there just to entertain, and I am all for that. Resident Evil was my example there, but I am all for any sequels. Like I said, there are a bunch of movies that have sequels that we didn't even realize have sequels. That people don't even realize, like Birds 2, Land's End. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock's Birds has a sequel. So, whatever. The main message here, and the main thing I'm really trying to say, is there are enough movies for everyone. Anything that you're into, there's a movie for you. A movie that you'll enjoy, most likely. I'm all for more and more movies. Give us more remakes, more reboots, more sequels. I just wish the quality was better. I wish they were smarter about it. I wish they did their homework a little bit, understood what made the originals work, and infused that into the modern versions. I'm all for more movies. Give us more movies. And yes, I thirst for new creative IPs and new ideas, which we do still get. But we are overwhelmed with a lot of sequels and reboots, but that's where we're at in cinema history here. We're at a time where people are nostalgic for the movies that they grew up with. Right now, cinema is really bigger than ever in a lot of ways, so that's why we have more and more of these movies. And if you don't want to see them, if you're not interested, just don't watch them. Don't give them your money. And to be honest, I enjoy the majority of what I watch. I'm not going to watch a remake or a reboot that I don't think I'm going to get some sort of enjoyment out of. At least from an educational level of how they made the film. There are enough films for everybody. Don't get on the internet and explain your hate about the newest reboot, remake coming out. Instead, enlighten people that this is a reboot, a remake, and to go check out the original. Who knows how this new reboot remake that's coming out later this year is gonna fare, but don't trash it before you see it. You never know. Suspiria remake came out and everybody seemed to love it. I haven't seen it yet, but I am interested in seeing it. So this is just a rambling video about my feelings on remakes, reboots, and sequels. And I hope you guys could relate to it a little bit, and I hope I gave you somewhat of a fresh perspective on it, because I really tried to. I didn't want to get on here and just spew the same shit that people have been saying forever. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below about reboots, remakes, and sequels. I'd love to know what you guys think, so feel free to leave it down there, and we'll get a discussion rolling. That was a bit redundant. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more videos like it, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the little bell for notifications. Anyway, guys,